Hello, everybody, and welcome to the newest indoor adventure in Rime of the Frostmaiden, Part 11, Toil and Trouble. Today is March 7th, 2021, and you are loved, and that is a very important thing that we like to remind each and every single one of our viewers and listeners at the beginning of each and every single one of these games. If this is your first time joining us, you can go to youtube.com/indooradventures to check up on all of the VODs of each of the games that we have played up until this point, or you can go towards where anywhere audio casts are made available for free. You can find us there under the same moniker. And speaking of things that are being made available for free, if you go towards where anywhere audio casts are made available, or wait, no, I already just did that part. Skipping that bit. Speaking of things that are being made available for free, if you go to patreon.com/indooradventures, you can check up on our after show called Nights in the Courtyard, where we answer questions not only from the community, but also from each other. So if you have any questions that you would like to ask myself or any of these other fine folk, the easiest way to do that is to join us on Discord. You can find the link down in the description below of this video or audiocast or wherever it is that you're watching it from. Live stream, I guess, because, you know, we're on Twitch. But if you already support us on Twitch, you already support us on YouTube and Patreon and all of those other great places, and you're trying to think to yourself, where can I go to help support this wonderful show even more? Guess what, buddy? I got your back. Quite literally, in fact, because if you go to Indoor Adventure, no S at the end, .redbubble.com, we got t-shirts, we got posters, we got mugs, we got crop tops, throw pillows, shower curtains, clocks, aprons, and we also have face masks. That's right, we have face masks with the symbol of Tiamat upon them. We call them Tia masks, one in each of her 5 glorious chromatic colors that our very own Cyberwolf 1201 ended up designing, and all the proceeds from those face masks end up going to help support Doctors Without Borders. So if you would like to help support a good cause, or possibly help support the show, feel free to once again go to indooradventure.redbubble.com. That is indooradventure, no S at the end, .redbubble.com. But that is it for my spiel. So hey, Satan, who are you playing today?
Hi, I'm Satan, and today I will be playing Kuori, the Goliath fighter, and we both use she/they pronouns.
Oh, hi, everybody. I'm LizMac, and today I will be playing our real rock gnome cleric, Lydia, and we both use she/her pronouns.
Fucking sus still. I'm the indoor adventurer, he, him, and tonight I shall be playing as Hart, the wood elf druid.
Oh, hey, I'm Matt, or Blink Dog 182, and I'll be playing Lucas, the rock gnome ranger. I'm not tired. Yeah.
Oh, lies we all tell ourselves. And hi, everybody. I'm Wings, also known as Danae Keener. I'm going to be the DM for tonight. I use she/they pronouns. Let's get right into it. Behold her everlasting rhyme. See how it covers all. Weep not for those she traps in time behind her glacial wall. The creature that used to be Lydia lies dead on the snowy cobble. The surrounding crowd is torn between gawking and staying out of danger. The corpse that used to be a wizard lies amidst glowing embers further up the town square, a testament to the retribution for transgressions in the Dalelands. The rock gnome that used to be a trusted friend has finally found her brother, but she has got a lot of explaining to do. You're all standing in the town square of East Haven. People are gathered around. There's a dead doppelganger on the ground. And the guards have begun to form a perimeter. And you all finally get a chance to breathe after the horrific events leading up to this.
Can Lucas go over to the doppelganger and see if I can find the wooden raven that I carved?
I'm so sorry. Sleepy brain just said no. I was like, time to take a drink of something. And I was all like, shit. Can you please repeat yourself?
Yeah, can Lucas go over to the doppelganger and see if he can find the wooden raven that he had carved and given to her?
Yes, absolutely. And I think that would be fairly easy to find, probably amidst some other bits and bobs that wouldn't have been like replications, because there are some things that doppelganger can replicate, and there are some things that like they probably would have picked up and like had on their person. That stuff obviously wouldn't turn into doppelganger goo when it died, so it's just sort of like a weird, surreal kind of thing, kind of picking through and finding just various bits and bobs, like bobby pin, a dagger.
Yeah, he's just gonna put that in his pocket. He's probably gonna squeeze it and then just put it in his pocket.
All right. Before too long, a woman in a well-tailored jacket and a fur hat approaches. She's tall, and I'll say she has long blonde hair that she keeps kind of swept back and well combed. She approaches and introduces herself as Captain Arlagath. She's the captain of the town militia. She apologizes for what just happened. I mean, obviously, like, you know, she probably couldn't have prevented that. But like, that looked pretty rough there, buddy. And she says, you can come into the town hall now if you'd like, get in out of the cold. And the guards will actually start approaching the rest of you and tossing blankets over your shoulders.
Kuori kind of gives back the blanket and just silently walks into the town hall without looking at anyone.
I feel like Hart, because he didn't rush down the alleyway towards all of that, because Lydia was nearby, real Dia. I think Hart would probably like turn towards Lydia, and just still very, very big smile, even though she doesn't know who he is. He'll just point towards Lucas and say, "We found your brother." And then we'll kind of like just bundle himself up a little bit more. And I'm guessing that he like Kuori like throws her blanket off and it like lands on Hart. So now he has two blankets and he's just like real nice and toast.
She probably put it on him, like because she knew he needed it.
Well, it's like one is draped around his neck, the other's draped over his antlers, and then you just see the little chewinga inside. Like now,
it's like a tent now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's adorable. I had the exact same mental image. That's weird. Same brain.
Brain cell. So yeah, that's what Hart's doing. He's following Kuori, but let Lydia know.
Lydia will kind of look towards Hart and just say, "Thank you." But then immediately like try and follow as close to Lucas as she can. And like reach out her hand to grab his.
He's gonna put it in his pocket.
Oh, I'm just gonna sit inside. It's really good to see you, Lucas.
Okay. He's just gonna look down.
Town hall has a very boxy kind of how should I say build to it. And if you approach it from a different direction, you can see that like the first floor is actually the highest floor, and then it goes down a couple of floors as the lower end kind of faces towards the lake. And it seems that I can't describe it as anything other than like a boat garage, or like a hangar type thing, where like the lower levels of town hall would be able to have much larger storage and contain vehicles and such that can be dispatched and disembarked towards the lake. But you are on the top floor, which is where all of the offices and the lobby and such are. You can see that there are paintings of boats on the lake at a much warmer and sunnier time for East Haven and Lackdinishire. The guards are kind of bustling about, trying to keep the citizens calm and informed. And like it after some time passes, eventually Captain Arlagath will approach you again, Lucas, and say, we were unable to find any of your belongings at the ferry, but we have authorization to get you equipped.
Thank you.
She hands you a cloth bundle, and she says, considering the circumstances and everything that you've done for the town so far, the speaker wanted you to have this. It belonged to an adventurer before you, but they had no next of kin, so we figured it would best be suited in your hands. And she hands you a warm felt cloth, and it's about like gnome or halfling sized. It's a cloak with made out of like dark felt, I'll say blue. We've got kind of a blue scheme going on for Lucas, and this is a cloak of protection. Sorry for taking your shit.
Gotta erase all my other stuff now.
But she will lead you to the armory, and basically you can outfit yourself with any mundane equipment that's in the Adventurer's Guide, like packs and weapons and things. Pretty much anything that you want, for no cost. Have fun. While you're up to that, back in the lobby, Kuori and Lydia and Hart are all just kind of standing about. How is that going?
So I think Hart will ask Lydia, so do you know where what's her name? It's not Duvasa. It's the lady. She sent me out to look. Danica. Do you know where Danica Greysteel is? I was told that she was looking for a Chewinga, and we've had one for a while. And as much as I don't want them to leave, we've sort of formed a bond. I at least should deliver the fact that we have one. So do you know where I can find Danica?
I'm not 100% sure. She came to town with me. We lost track of each other just before the chaos broke out.
All right.
I've been traveling with her for quite some time now. But I can't imagine she'd be far.
Is that the wet trout?
Oh, well, if she's at the Wet Trout,
Yeah, that's where
oh, also,
that thing center.
where are we staying? As just as while we're here, because Lydia, it looked like you had a house here. There was also the nice. I say this in full seriousness. The nice dog led me there.
Nice dog.
It was nice. He said I smelled like a friend.
DM, would Danica and Lydia have had like a room somewhere? Or
Yes, you guys have a room at the White Lady Inn.
we we were staying at the White Lady Inn. We're paid up for a couple days, but I just I want to stay wherever Lucas is staying. I don't understand much of what's going on right now.
Well, from what I have been able to see, there was a you who wasn't really you that we traveled with for a while you were traveling with Danica. And then both of us were looking for your brother. And then when we found your brother, that's when the you who wasn't you revealed that they weren't actually you. They were an imposter or a traitor of some sorts. And then we turned them to goo on the street. And now we're here.
Kuori, is this true?
She is kind of looking away, and she gives a quick glance down and your way and just gives a nod and then looks away again.
We went all over the place. We went into a lake and met a talking lizard creature that lived there that we named Friend, and then we met Ravison. And she's really nice. Her teeth are blue because she keeps this berry bush around her that stains her teeth blue, and it talks sometimes in this very strange voice. And then we ended up going up to we went up Cairconic to the place Cairconic, and then we also went to Kelvin's Cairn, which was different. And then that's where apparently your brother told people to not say he was there, but to say he died on the mountain. So we almost thought he was dead, but then he wasn't. And Hart just continues to rattle off their adventure in a very
Disjointed,
not easy to follow way, but like he has space brain and doesn't see an issue with telling Lydia. As far as he knows, he and Lydia are still cool.
He name drops like 7 of the 10 towns, all out of order.
Yep.
Which is impressive for him. But
and that's when we met Goose.
That happened right at the beginning. Never mind. Why is it happening this late? No, it's fine. It's fine. It's okay. Hart can tell the story however he wants to.
Lydia will just be like trying to take everything in, but like have kind of just a blank, overwhelmed look on her face, and her eyes are pretty continuously darting towards Kuori, trying to meet her gaze. And then when Hart has slowed down for a moment,
I've got a scene to do real quick before you go to talk to Kuori. Sorry. I don't like, okay, it's fine. Whilst Hart is regaling Lydia of the adventures that she evidently went on with him, and she starts to kind of get a handle on what kind of person this is. Kuori, you're kind of looking out the window, and you can see that the guards have started to rake the ashes of that pyre, and they are sort of cleaning up that area. And you hear a voice next to you say, his name was Dazan.
She'll look to the voice.
It's Captain Arlagath standing next to you.
You must have done something pretty bad, huh?
She nods. Group of adventurers. They'd done a lot for this town. And he killed them all.
He killed them.
Yes.
Is there a reason, or just was he mad?
Oh, he was very much in his right mind. I think he was trying to hide something. He'd hired them to go out with him on an expedition of some sort, and then killed them to keep them quiet.
Lucas looks relieved at knowing of this information. Oh god.
Do you know where the wizard used to live?
He didn't live here. He was an outsider.
Do you have his possessions that I could look at?
She kind of looks you up and down. You from around here?
Lonelywood.
Hmm.
But I travel.
I see. It's hard to come across good adventurers these days. I hope you all take care of each other. But you wanted to look at his possessions.
Duh.
All right. Come with me.
And I feel like as Hart is like finishing his story, is Kuori leaving with the captain?
When they say that you should take care of each other, Lucas will not look up, but he will grab Lydia's hand.
Lydia just closes her eyes and sighs for a second before squeezing back. Probably a little too tight, but in a non-threatening way, to be clear. Before just turning to Hart and saying, "It sounds like you didn't have a easy journey either." And like now that everything has calmed down a little bit and Lucas and Hart have a second to actually look at Lydia, she does look a little bit different. She seems a bit more toned down from the Lydia that you knew. And she has a long, thin scar going across the upper part of her cheek. It hasn't been an easy journey for me at all to find you. And thank you, by the way, for helping find my brother. I'm sorry, you said your name was...
You can call me Hart.
Hart. Thank you, Hart. I didn't think I'd get here. And I'm just so glad that you are okay, Lucas. It's every night, it's just been worry. Now there was another me that was running around, and Kuori won't even look at me. I just want everybody to be okay. I'm gonna go see if I can find Danica at our room. Hart, will you look after Lucas for me?
Of course. I told you that I'd
Albeit-
never let him out of my sight once we got him.
That's nice to hear. I'll be at the White Lady. I just need a little bit of... Tell Kuori I'm sorry.
I
Oh,
will.
Lucas. Nope.
Oh,
Lucas will squeeze Lydia's hand and just say, just give her time. We're gonna need time.
she'll sort of nod and then try and go and find Danica. Kuori said she was at the Wet Trout, so Lydia would then say that she would be going to the Wet Trout to try and find Danica for you.
As you're on your way out, Hart will call after you and tell you to have a nice day.
She'll just kind of wave back and walk out into the cold.
Sweetest bean. All right. Kuori, you are led deeper into the town hall. The captain opens a door and walks along a balcony. You can look down into the lower levels of the town hall, and where you might expect to see like wagons or a boat, you instead see a large black statue of some sort. It's got a very like chiseled kind of angular feature to it. It's some sort of demon, and it has it smacks of a prow spear, which is to say, not a prow spear, but a figurehead. God, I don't know boat words. A figurehead, which is to say, like like the mermaids that they put on the front of boats and stuff. Like it's a decorative element that goes on the front of a boat, and you can actually see like bits of like old rotted wood kind of sticking off of the back of it, but you don't get a lot of chance to examine it from this high up, but you do notice that it's made out of some sort of dark metal. And she leads you into what appears to be a library of sorts. And she kind of goes over to a pile of what appears to be like books that need to have yet to be sorted. And she explains to you that the wizard's belongings have already been like distributed amongst either the armory or the more dangerous things that he had, such as he had a spell scroll of some sort, and like some illicit arcane contraband, basically. That's stuff that she's not allowed to show you. But he did have one curiosity that you might be interested in seeing. And she hands you this red leather book. It's fairly thick, and it seems kind of worn. It's got these yellow pages. The edges of them are actually stained with dry blood. And she hands it to you. You crack it open, kind of flip through it, and the writing inside suggests that the book is nothing more than a poetry anthology. And the captain seems skeptical of that. She knows that spellcasters have a tendency to be obtuse with their belongings.
Can I make a sort of investigation check to see if there's something written in code? You know how like people used to say that witches used to make like their grimoires into cookbooks, basically?
Yeah, absolutely.
So something to check if it's something like that.
Yeah, give it a go.
Investigation. 22.
22. That's actually precisely what you think this is. Not necessarily written in code, but you think that there is some sort of spell cast on these pages to make the text appear as something that it is not. You're going to need to do some more research to see how to get rid of this, or interpret it.
Okay. Can she ask what the spell scroll that he had on him was?
Classified.
Okay. Okay, I guess it wasn't the spell magic.
There's a small smile from Captain Arlagath. No, it wasn't dispel magic.
This is definitely not what it looks like, but do you mind if I keep it? I'm a researcher of sorts.
Well, it's probably going to be better in your hands than anyone else's, or rather, in any hands at all, rather than just sitting on a bookshelf and collecting dust.
Yes.
Which is what it will be doing if I don't hand it over. So, feel free.
Dank. Thank you. I keep saying thank you in German because that's what I'm used to that's what I just say to people.
You know what? Feel free. We're making this up as we go along, baby.
Spasibo.
Vaguely European.
Yeah,
That's what it
Vaguely
is.
European.
It's just a Goliath thing.
It's just Goliath thing. We have many words for thank you. It's fine. We're actually a lot nicer than people give us credit for.
I mean, it's like languages. I mean, like Goliaths don't even like speak Goliath; they speak giant. So it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, whatever, man. We're making it up as we go
Spasiba,
along.
Danke. Gracias. Thank you.
Prost.
But yeah, she'll take it and put it in her bag to deal with later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She'll say thank you to the guard, and she'll ask if they need either like accounts from each of one of them, or do they need them to stay here.
If you wouldn't mind giving a statement.
I can do that.
If my suspicions are correct, that was a doppelganger.
Yes.
That's not going to be good, actually. People are going to be panicking, and they're not going to be trusting each other.
This doppelganger came from a different town, and for a specific person, it seems. I don't think you have doppelgangers loose in your city, but you know what? Maybe just moonbeam everyone, you know?
I don't think we're going to be going quite that far. That's actually what we want to avoid. Out here, it gets cold, and people get hungry, and people get desperate. And the last thing we want is people turning on each other. That's why we burned that guy at the stake. It was a message that you can't turn on each other.
Well, you can tell them it was an isolated incident. If I'm correct in my suspicions, this has nothing to do with your town.
I hope you're right. We will be speaking with I will be speaking with the speaker about this regardless. He is going to need to talk to the other speakers about it.
I can give you my account, should you wish, whenever you want.
I'd appreciate that. Right this way. And she walks you into an office to do some paperwork. Lydia, you were on your way to the Wet Trout?
Yeah, looking for Danica.
Okay. When you walk in, it's actually a lot quieter than usual. It seems that the majority of people are actually out in the town square trying to figure out what happened, because that seems to be where all of the excitement is now. There's only maybe one or two people in the tavern at the moment. And you see a swarthy looking fella with kind of gray at his temples and these piercing blue eyes. He's leaned over the bar, kind of whispering conspiratorially with the barkeep, who is a large, tough-looking white dragonborn lady with barnacles kind of encrusted on her jawline. And the two of them are sort of whispering back and forth to each other, and when you walk in, he kind of shoots you a look.
Hello, sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt any conversation. I'm just looking for my friend. She said she'd be here.
He kind of like looks over his shoulder and like nods his head back. And you can like look into the back of the room. She's fairly conspicuous. Danica is sitting in a corner. She's got her wire frame glasses, these just perfect circles that keep on kind of falling down her nose, so she has to keep on pushing them back up again. And she's got this big, huge sack full of oh my gosh, equipment, like scholarly equipment. I was trying to find a word for nerd shit.
Just say nerd shit next time.
Magic
I
the
guess.
Gathering cards. What are these doing in here?
I like not even that was coming. I just had like a dial-up noise in my brain. But like scrolls and things are poking out, you know, quills and ink and books. And she just sort of waves at you.
Hey, Danica. Tonight's been kind of crazy. I found Lucas. Well, we found Lucas as we found Kuori, and this guy named Hart. I think he's part deer. I don't know. He's got antlers. But
No, I remember Hart.
yeah. So yeah, you remember everybody, right? I don't. They have a chewinga.
Oh, goody.
Yeah. I think that we're gonna either get or share our room at the White Lady at the inn. I don't know. I apologize. I'm a little flustered. Today, there was a doppelganger of me. She tried to kill Lucas.
Oh my gosh. I am so sorry. That is insane. I mean, like very interesting from a scholarly perspective, and you know, I like to study that, but very, very upsetting for you, and I'm very sorry about that.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess seeing myself try to attack my brother, I don't really feel much like myself, even more so than usual lately.
Well, I mean, that wasn't you.
Tell that to Kuori. She won't even look at me. Maybe you shouldn't tell that to Kuori. Kuori doesn't know you very well, and
She'll flag down the barkeep, who has like returned to like speaking conspiratorially with that fella at the bar. And like she kind of like shoots Danica a glance, but she comes around and gives you a half pint. And Danica sits you down basically. And she says, listen, you've all had kind of a scare. Like, I'm not a expert in these sorts of matters. I'm really more an expert in like temperature control and the way that it changes the environment. But I digress. You've all kind of had like a scare, and from my understanding, it all happened today. So give yourself a break. Like, that was a lot. Like, give yourself some time to like recover, and you know, don't lay down judgment on knee-jerk reactions.
you're probably right. Thanks, Danica. And Lydia will very quickly finish her drink and just sort of say, can we get back to them? They should still be at the town hall. And then I think we all need a night's rest.
Sure thing. She stands up, pays for the drinks, and the two of you will head out of there. Hart, are you hanging out with Lucas in the lobby, or did you guys head for the White Lady Inn?
You mean the wet trout?
I don't know.
Okay.
We don't know anymore.
I've lost track of where everybody is.
All right, because the White Lady Inn was where Danica was, and then that is where then
The wet trout is where Danica
Okay.
is.
Wet Trout was where
So-
Danica was.
Yeah, and the
So-
white ladies where they were staying.
Where they were staying. We have a room at the Trout.
Nope.
We don't
Other
have
way
anything
around.
at
Nope.
the trout.
Okay.
The Trout.
So-
The Trout is a tavern. It's a restaurant.
Okay.
Doppeldia ran into Danica and sent her to the wet trout.
Gotcha. Okay, wet trout is just the tavern part.
Yeah. Real Lydia and Danica have a room at the White Lady Inn.
Okay. So
And so she went to go fetch Danica from the wet trout and meet up with you guys either at town hall if you're still there or at the inn.
yeah, I think that Hart would probably like he'd sit there quietly. Lucas, just like. So were you in this town long? Before?
Oh
we
no,
ended up
I just
finding
got
you?
here.
Oh well, we just got here as well. Ah, lucky timing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. How long have you known Kuori?
Oh, a long time. See this Bruce?
Ah,
That's from her.
she gave
it was-
that
it was-
to you
Yeah, it was fine.
like
That
a
was my
while
fault.
ago.
Mhm. It'll go down.
I don't know about that. Do you have any cookies on you?
He's on a sugar withdrawal.
Can I have cookies on me? I don't know if I would.
Because all of his stuff got taken. So did the city
Yeah.
give him
All your
cookies?
stuff did. I'll say that like there's probably like a bowl of cookies like sitting somewhere in the lobby. You know, like it's a refreshments type of thing. Like
yeah.
you know,
It's like the
They're not
free
the
bags
best
of
cookies.
popcorn at tire places. Like it's just there.
and like you know coffee and stuff. Basically, you remember that one town speaker in Lonelywood who like made like gingerbread cookies and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna go like really deep into the lore and really meta this shit, and you guys like out of character, like this is out of character knowledge, but she takes cookies to town meetings, and she makes enough cookies for them to be able to take cookies back with them. So this is delicious halfling mom cookies, all the way from Lonelywood. And like she makes them so that they like keep and keep and keep. So
Yes. Excellent.
and
Hart has probably had like
Speaker
3 of
Waylon
them.
doesn't like cookies, so he always just puts them in the lobby.
Yeah, Hart's probably had like 3 of them at this point. But like, if they're like little gingerbread men, like little people, like he'll like definitely like move them around and be like,
They're
Like, he's,
gingerbread
like-
halflings.
yeah, he's like moving them around like Lydia and Kuori and himself, like he's just playing with these cookies.
You have to stack 2 of them on top of each other to be Kuori.
Yeah,
Bite the head off of one of them.
that's me. So that way I can help distinguish them.
Amazing.
Yeah, I think
Adorable.
I think Hart's probably just like idle chatter with Lucas, playing with cookies. He said he'd watch over Lucas, but honestly, like he's not huge into going to taverns. He doesn't really like towns. So like he has nothing to do until somebody shows up. Unless Lucas has an idea of where he wants to go, in which case Hart would just go with him.
Lucas is probably just sitting there absentmindedly, like giving Snowball scritches.
Snowball. Speaking of Snowball, you probably were able to find some dog armor in there.
Barding.
Yes.
Yes. So feel free to look up the rules for barding and bard up your dog.
Do that right now.
Must protect Snowball at all costs.
Protect
Exactly.
the Snowball. So yeah, Kuori is busy doing paperwork, and as you're doing so, the captain doesn't. She like never turns off. She is always working. At some point, you overhear her say something about like the Emerald Enclave associate coming into town, and that she's going to be advising the speaker on some things going forward. Like she's speaking to other like guards and town hall workers as she's doing this. She's not necessarily speaking to you. She also mentions like we need to send a missive to Bryn Shander so that we can get that interrogator in to interrogate the Duragar that Lucas caught. And like one guard comes up and like says something about missing fishermen, and like she gets really exasperated over that, and she's all like, all right, like wait and see if they come back. Sometimes they get a little bit into their cups out on their boats. They might come back on their own. If they don't, we'll send a party in the morning.
There's so much information.
I mean, like, and she like handles it like a mile a minute. Like there's
this lady needs a drink. I feel like Kuori's. I feel like whenever she was able to get like actual alcohol, she filled up a flask, and she's gonna take her flask and give it to the captain and say, "For later."
She gives you a nod and basically takes it like it's another piece of paperwork.
Files it away with all of the other after-work flasks.
Yep. That's going at the top of the input pile. Processing.
Captain, when are you planning to interrogate these Duraguard?
As soon as we got our specialist in.
Right. And what does this specialist do?
It's a cleric of Lathander from Bryn Shander. They have the ability to they have several spellcasting abilities that will assist in a ethical interrogation.
I may know a cleric that has Zone of Truth if that's what you're looking for.
Oh, there's more than just Zone of Truth. You'd be surprised the kind of talking around that you can do in a Zone of Truth.
Oh, yeah. Satan says as someone who's played very heavy Fae campaigns.
I don't know. Steven, is Detect Thoughts a cleric spell? That's probably only a wizard thing, isn't it?
Detect Thoughts is a cleric spell, but you have to be a particular order of cleric.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
In order to get it. I think you have to be Knowledge Cleric.
Oh, so you mean like a nerd cleric?
Yeah,
okay.
like what Caleb was supposed to be.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think the class that usually have it are Bard, Sorcerer, and Wizard. It doesn't say Cleric, so I'm assuming it has specific, yeah.
Yep. I'll say it's a team of specialists, which is to say like two of them. One's a cleric and one's a wizard type. And they basically do good cop, bad cop.
Right. So, Captain, we actually just came from a Duraguard settlement.
She like raises her eyebrows at you, and she just hands you several more forms. She's like, I think you're gonna be here for a while. I'm gonna go tell your friends to head on to the tavern, not the tavern, the inn without you. We're gonna cover your rooms for the night and maybe for the next few days.
Okay. And she's gonna take back her flask.
Yep. The captain will come out and basically tell you guys, like Lydia and Danica could have arrived by now. She will basically tell you all, go on ahead to the White Lady Inn. Kuori will catch up with you later. She's busy doing some paperwork. Basically writing a report on all the shit that happened.
When she comes out, Hart has moved from the chair or seat where he was and is just sitting on the floor in front of like a coffee table with his cookies. And then people start talking to him and he like sets the cookies down, stands up, and then when no one's looking, he takes them, stuffs them into his pocket for later.
If anything, I think Kuori will come out for a moment, and tell Hart, to go with Lydia and Lucas, speak to Danica. Here's some money. Do you have any money?
No.
Okay.
This is what you use to get like blankets and food and stuff, right?
Yes. Here is 10 gold. That would get you a lot of things, but be careful what you spend it on. But I'll be back. If you want, why don't you ask if there's a bakery in town?
And then Hart immediately turns and looks towards he'll just look towards Lucas. And you said that Lydia and Danica have shown up?
Mm-hmm.
And he just like hands together like, is there a bakery in town?
I'm not sure, but we could find out for you.
Seems like the best idea.
Lydia will like try and find like a guard that is just standing by and ask if he could point in the direction of the nearest bakery.
Certainly. He'll point in a particular direction. It's a bakery and cafe.
Okay, thank you. So to the bakery then, and we'll go get settled in our rooms.
To the bakery!
Kuori will give Hart her jacket in the meantime for him to stay warm.
Yeah, you guys bought Hart winter clothes. Like, you don't need to give him your big jacket.
Well, I'll take my thoughtful gesture back.
That's
But
okay.
he's
I'll take it
baby.
back. No. She'll just kind of tighten his clothes. She'll like, stay warm. Don't make me pull you out of the snow again.
He nods.
We'll meet you at the inn, Kuori, okay?
Danica will likewise meet you guys at the inn. She walks off with the captain, and you overhear the captain saying, I'm looking forward to working with your advisement.
Emerald's conclave?
Emerald's conclave.
I'm so tired.
It's okay.
You're so close.
Listen, I didn't say Concord because all I could think is like green grapes, Concord grapes.
Listen, I'm over here with my nerd shit. Yeah, Emerald Enclave.
Well,
Danica kind of whirls around, her her glasses nearly fall off. She pushes them back up.
do I know anything about the Emerald Enclave?
Yeah, give me a history check.
I'll use my green. Oh, that was my blue dice. I'm partly colorblind, apparently. A history check?
Yes, please.
24.
Ooh, my God, Kuori. Oh,
I'm so smart right now.
I could kiss her. She is the most like good rolling like knowledge monkey I've ever had. I'm sorry, Selmy. Like Kuori is my favorite. Selmy could never roll for shit.
Well, it's like Kuori's also a fighter. Like nobody expects the fighter to know all the things.
I actually have a +5 in history.
She's a big brain. Okay.
I'm into that nerd shit.
So Kuori, you know that the Emerald Enclave is a group of druids and rangers. They are like a lot of people would say that, like assume that they are like, you know, like into that hippie shit. They're like, you know, always trying to like, you know, save the trees and save the whales and all of that. That is not necessarily
good stuff.
that's not necessarily what their goal is. Their specific goal is to maintain balance between civilization and nature. That there is a perfect ideal of like nature goes this far and no further, and civilization goes this far and no further, and they like maintain that balance.
Okay. Okay.
They are the perfectly neutral group.
Cool. We should all talk.
Okay. We're planning on it?
Oh, I meant with me as well, because I think there's some things that I need to ask you a few things because you have druids, correct?
I mean, a few. Yeah.
Right. And she'll kind of talk quietly. There might be something that might upset the balance of things relatively soon.
I see. That might be why I'm here.
Does it have to do with the Durugard?
It might. I just now started learning about them, and that's kind of what we're going to go and talk about right now.
Does it have to do with a black stone?
That's another thing that I've been hearing about. Not necessarily my area of expertise, but I am interested in what you have to say about it.
Okay. We'll talk.
All right. So like the brain trust over here. Meanwhile, pastries.
I feel like that's the least Hart could get. It's pastries.
So between the four of us, we are going to, and Satan, you can contribute as well if you want. Between the five of us, we can come up with a name for a pastry shop and cafe.
The cookie cafe.
Do they have a theme or a gimmick?
Yeah. Is it? It should be a cat cafe.
A cat cafe.
So run by
I
Tabaxi? A winter Tabaxi?
Yes.
Okay, I've
Those
got
really
I've got
fluffy
this.
Norwegian forest cats.
Okay.
Okay, I've got it. Okay.
Okay.
It is a cat cafe. It is run by a winter Tabaxi. It is called Cookie Cutter Cafe. But the cookie cutter that they're referring to is a cookie cutter shark. Which is like the sharks that have like the perfectly round mouths, and they like chomp out of a whale and like leave perfectly round circles there. It's a cookie cutter shark, and so like on the picture of the like the logo is a shark, and so it's Cookie Cutter Cafe, and it's a cat cafe, because kitty cat like fish.
I'm down for it.
The owner has to be a really fluffy white Norwegian forest cat.
Yes.
Tabaxi.
Yes, and then there's also like Norwegian forest cat like cats there as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hair.
So much hair.
There's so much hair, but prestidigitation. Because otherwise it would be in all of the food, and that'd be disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, y'all are served up some delicious hand pulled, like with a handle, espresso. And except for Hart, you get a hot chocolate.
Yay.
But like you also get like delicious warm pastries. Like they're in like the little pudding glasses. So like a nice like warm square of brownie and like some fresh whipped cream on top, and a nice dusting of powdered sugar. This is their art.
That sounds so good right now, out of character though. I'm just like,
No, I'm hungry. It's
That's
almost
why-
midnight and I'm hungry.
That's why I'm playing a sweets fiend. It's super easy to just be like, oh my god, that sounds amazing, in and out of character.
And Lydia will also make sure to she would like to go up to the counter after everyone's like sat down and eating and request she's going to request a like to-go container full of cookies, and she'll pay for like a special order to because I presume they're going to be here eating dessert for a little while. But she'll pay for a special order to get little gingerbread cookies made, but that specifically look like each of us. So small ones for Lucas and Lydia, a big one for Kuori, and one with antlers for Hart. And then she's also going to ask if they have any if they make scones, because she knows they're quite quick to bake. But she's going to request some scones that have this is going to sound a little bit weird, but hear me out, it's actually a delicious combination that is going to have a little bit of fresh mint and lavender buds in it, because it reminds her of Kuori and the Lonely Wood and that like minty pine florally scent, and something sensible like a scone Kuori would enjoy. And she's going to purchase some scones for Kuori.
That's really pleasant.
So,
all right, cool. They also offer savory options if you guys are looking for something more dinner wise. They recommend the herring hand pies. More for me.
I'm a fill up on sweets.
yeah.
Nights in the courtyard. All right. Anything else at the cafe before you guys head on over to the White Lady Inn?
Lydia would also like to order a little small container of whipped cream for Snowball and take him over a puppuccino.
Hell yeah.
And just pet him because she knows him not as well as Lucas, obviously, but for at least for the past few days they've been together. So
yeah, and Snowball is very friendly, but like every now and then, like the sunlight catches him just right, and he'll like stand up on a snowdrift and just like look downright majestic, you know, as the wind kind of like blows in its fur. Like, because this is a wolf, it's not a dog. Like we say dog and we treat him like a dog, but like this is a heckin' awu wild pupper, so respect. All right, you guys go to the White Lady Inn. Oh.
Lydia will handle getting like the rooms organized and set one aside for Kuori, and just kind of go up to Lucas and do you want to share a room like with like old times?
Sure. That sounds
okay?
That sounds good.
Okay. So but she's gonna go into Hart and Kuori's room and just leave the cookies on Hart's bed and the scones on Kuori's bed before retreating to her own room for the night.
All right. The White Lady Inn is a sort of musty old inn. When you walk in, there is the immediate sound of someone playing a fiddle. and you can see that there is a halfling kind of stood up on a stool in front of a nice roaring fire. And he's playing a jaunty tune as you enter and get your affairs sorted and all your rooms figured out. There is a set of like the entire wall facing the lake is just windows with the wrought iron lattices in it. And you can get you're fairly close to the lake right here, so you get a very nice view of the lake through these windows. It's scenic and very lovely. But yes, so Lydia goes ahead to her room on her own. Okay.
Yeah, she wouldn't like wait for Lucas or anything. Like she wants to try and give him a little bit of space. But she would just kind of go off to her room pretty early by herself.
Okay. Hart and Lucas are sort of left in the lobby as the sun begins to set. You can see a very orange, sort of pinkish, purpley haze on the horizon that bounces off of the frozen lake and just paints these colors across the walls of the inn. And the bard kind of starts to wind down his music, and he takes on a more narrative tone with his music playing, and he shouts out across the inn, and he says, "Welcome everyone to the White Lady Tavern," and basically starts telling the story of why the inn is called the White Lady Inn. And it's because of the legend of a lady who walks out on the ice where her husband was rumored to die. And there is many theories as to why she walks out on the ice or why her husband died out there. And it's really sort of a chicken and the egg situation, because like some stories say that she drowned out there and her husband went out to go find her. Some stories say that her husband was a rich, miserly man who rode out onto the lake for some reason with all of his wealth and then drowned. And then like his wife went down with him. Like there's a lot of conflicting stories regarding this. But basically this guy introduces himself as Ronaldo. And he says that it is a mystery. But tonight we could all find out together the answer to this story. We could all learn together by contacting the White Lady herself. And he like points with his bow of his fiddle to several people in the tavern. He's all like, you and you and you can all come with me into the back room and we can perform a seance and learn from the White Lady what happened to her. And he like points out Hart and Lukas as well.
Hart will just like me, and then looks towards Lucas. Like you see that his eyes are just big. Like Hart is 110% down to follow this bard to the ends of the earth. Like he has no like he's just like he stands this bard.
Would Lucas be able to tell that if this is real or not?
Give me an insight check.
Oh, amazing.
Where I will
10.
knock you out and steal your money.
This guy seems so earnest.
Amazing. Let's go.
Bless. Okay, cool. Sorry, I don't mean to sound so concerned. This is fine. He sort of ushers about a dozen people into the back room, and the two of you are ushered back there as well. The sun is very well set by now. You can see that there is smoke from burning incense in here. There's multicolored lamps and silks that are hung from the rafters, and the light from several candles illuminate the circle of really, honestly, uncomfortable looking guests sitting cross-legged on the floor. But definitely knows how to set the scene. This guy pushes back the sleeves of his robe. He raises his hands. He closes his eyes and he says, "Lady who watches from the lake, come to us in our darkest hour. Tell us what you've seen." And there's a moment of silence. It seems for a moment like nothing is going to happen. But then his eyes open and you can see that like the pupils have rolled back. There's just white of his eyes. And this thick frost begins to form on the inside of the room's windows and turns them all opaque. And then all of the candles start to go out one by one.
Hart is just like, gasping at all the right gasps and the wrong ones. Just really like way into this.
I think now is a good time for us to go on break.
Okay. All right, so we are going to be heading into break. I would like to say thank you to everybody who's decided to stick with us so far. We're going to try and be back in 5 to 10 minutes, so don't go no place unless it's to grab a food, grab a drink, grab a friend, or possibly go to indooradventure.redbubble.com. Pick yourself up something nice, and we'll see you guys shortly. All right, everybody. See you soon. Spaghetti! Hello, everybody.
Spaghetti.
We have returned from our break. Lucas and Hart are getting up to some shenanigans.
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong?
Don't.
Oh my god, now that I don't immediately have a sugary caffeinated drink next to me, I am on the struggle bus. So bear with me, guys. I'm going to barrel forward. We're going to get straight into Wang's hour before too long.
So for Satan and Liz, Wang's is very sleep-deprived strange wings.
It's sleep drunk. When we last left off, Lucas and Hart were participating in a seance, and the windows had frosted over until they were completely opaque, and all of the candles started going out one by one. And it's completely dark in the room, save for the dim, diffused light coming in through the windows from the night sky. Ronaldo senses that the White Lady's spirit is close, and he begins urging you to reach out to it. He points to each person in turn. How does everybody reach out to the spirit? I'll start with Hart. Is there something that you say or do to encourage the spirit to come forward?
Yes. Hart, God, this is probably not going to be useful. So Hart, knowing that the White Lady loved her husband, went out onto the ice. He is going to... No, that'd be bad. Fuck. What is he gonna do? I think
Well, Ronaldo will say that this is okay. No, go ahead. Sorry, that'll come later.
Hart will create an instantaneous, harmless sensory effect
Okay.
And he wants to have it be a puff of wind because like a little like fun circle of wind always makes him feel more welcome in a space. So they're inside, all the windows are closed, the candles are up, but Hart, not knowing that this will probably be more scary, is gonna have all of the candles like and like look like they're like getting caught on some sort of wind.
Okay.
Like, oh, the spirit's coming. The wind predicated it.
All right. Lucas, what do you say or do to invite the spirit?
I'm going to cast guidance into the air to help her come.
Oh, to help her manifest.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's so sweet.
I'm sure nothing can go wrong.
He's trying to help the spirit. That's so nice.
Dead.
Okay. I'd like both of you to give me persuasion checks.
It could be perception instead.
Nope.
Amazing.
Oh my god, yeah! 21!
Dirty 20.
Oh my god.
Idiot squad, go!
Put the sweetest beans in a room with a sentimental ghost. Okay. All right. Ronaldo kind of tips his head to the side, and he's all like, yeah, I guess they are kind of cute. The spirit is receptive. You can ask her any questions you like. You could ask her about what happened to her, but like the spirit of the White Lady is very knowledgeable about many things. She walks the length of the lock. Ask her anything.
Lucas will say out, is it my real sister this time?
Oh, that's so heartbreaking. There is silence, except for a squeaking noise behind you. And you turn around to look, and you can see that there is a word being written by an invisible hand into the frost on the glass. And it starts with "she still hides."
Uh-oh. Don't like that. I don't know what to do with that.
Any questions that Hart is interested in asking?
Yeah. Hart's question is, where's the Red Dragon Heart Forge?
There is more squeaking behind Hart.
Hart's like, oh, like, takes out a cookie.
Oh no, can Hart read?
No.
Hart! No!
Lucas would be able to tell him what it said.
I would like to read it.
Okay. Where is the dragon?
Where is the Dragon Heart Forge?
Yeah.
Write that down.
It says mountains beyond the lake.
And then Hart will also ask if he's able to ask a second question. Do you have a favorite cookie?
God You're the worst. There's a long silence and a squeaking noise from yet another window, and it says Snickerdoodles.
Hart immediately starts checking his pockets to see if he copped a snickerdoodle at any point.
Oh my god.
If he has one, he'll definitely like leave it with the halfling on their way out. Be like, give this to her for me.
Ronaldo's like eyes roll back forward again. He's like, seriously? Those are the questions you're gonna ask?
Hart holds out a cookie.
Ronaldo takes the cookie, and then like just shrugs and then like holds it up in the air and like rolls his eyes back again. Like,
amazing.
Lady of the Lake, we offer this to you. And there is like some ghostly whispers. There are like a little bit more like cold like feelings in the air, this feeling of a presence, and it eventually begins to dissipate. I mean, like the cookie doesn't like rise from his hand and then like start like, you know, like chomp chomp.
Damn
it. That would be great, but it doesn't seem like it works quite like that. It all starts to die down, and Ronaldo's like, well, that was not the most conventional seance I've had, but she was very receptive to you guys.
Hart just gives a thumbs up to Lucas, like, yeah,
We did it. I don't know what we did. We did it.
Usually she's a lot scarier than that.
We're pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
Usually when you're nice to somebody, they're nice back.
I guess
Usually.
that's fair. The spirits do kind of feed off of whatever energy you bring into the room.
Gonna remember that for the next time I have to deal with a spirit.
You see Ronaldo kind of set up just like a little shrine next to one of the windows. He puts down a handkerchief and he puts that cookie down there, and basically kind of like pats it and says, for you, lady. And he hops down, toddles back into the room, and you see him start putting his stuff away. At this point, I believe Kuori can come in after burning the midnight oil with the captain. Is there anything that you would have wanted to like speak with them about while you were at the town hall?
On the way out of the seance place, Hart would have told where the lady would have been to have a nice day.
She would have asked what they know about the Durgard and the Blackstone. I forgot the word.
Chardolin.
Flower. Okay.
Yeah. Chrysanthemum is a flower. Chardolin is the name of the stone.
Chardolin.
You are correct.
I love a sparkling Chardolin.
Oh my god. Well,
make a joke, but it's
they currently don't have any information on the Durgarv. They're still working on that.
Yeah.
They won't have any. They really won't have anything until they get their interrogation team in.
Yeah. She will write a report on what happened at the Durgard town, like the settlement.
The outpost.
And,
okay.
The outpost. Specifically, like, if she has to underline, like, the weird like spore experiment,
Mm-hmm.
and that they seem to be looking for something with this Charlatan.
Danica is able to contribute that sounds like some sort of fungal infestation. There is a type of sentient fungus that grows in the Underdark that has the ability to like reanimate corpses and basically turn them into what is called spore servants. That's what it sounds like to her.
Okay. Well, she'll let them know that they seem to have been experimenting with that. And that's what she'll say. That's what she knows.
Okay.
And if possible, to be kept updated that they will stay in town for a few days about the Duragard and anything else.
All right.
And she will ask Danica specifically about, does she know a type of druid that is related to the stars?
Specifically, she says that she knows people who study the stars, but people who have a relationship with the stars in the sense that they draw power from the stars. It's usually more of a patron type situation. She wouldn't describe a person who derives their powers from the stars as a druid per se. Like it's natural, but like that's kind of otherworldly and extraplanar. It's stuff that we don't necessarily understand. It's natural to someone, but not to us.
Great, thank you. Someone who hasn't heard music before, doesn't know how to read or write, doesn't know what certain things are. I'm like, extra planar, huh? No, Indoor, what's all this then to you?
Sounds like Nights in the Courtyard to me.
She'll be like, all right, thank you. You'll be in town a few days, yes?
Yeah, actually, I can walk you back to the White Lady Inn. I'm staying there too, so.
Yes, we can do that. She'll just be kind of like making small talk about the Chewinga or something.
Oh, she is so excited to meet this Chewinga. As you are walking back, the streets are dark. They're like you have to be careful how you step because the roads are kind of slick, and you don't want to slip and fall in the dark. That would be really bad. And since the sun has set, there's not a lot of people out, and the people who are out are like all bundled up in their furs and cold weather gear, and you can't really see their faces.
I do not have dark vision.
They also like they keep to themselves. They don't really like pay attention to you, or like they acknowledge you in so much as like they
glance, but
give you a glance and then like hurry along their way to get away from you as quickly as possible. It seems that there's not a lot of trust in the city.
Okay.
But that's kind of been the way that Icewind Dale has been.
Yeah.
For the most part, it just kind of strikes you as like it didn't used to be this way.
Man. Okay.
But as you're walking back, you can tell that Danica kind of picks up on that energy, like that, like it's a little bit spooky, kind of walking back in the dark, and she seems to be the kind of person that like talks when she's nervous, and she maybe talks a little bit too, like she says a little bit more than she intends. You learn that she's the only member of the Emerald Enclave out here, because she's basically the only person who thought that this was important. And she's kind of frustrated with the rest of the Emerald Enclave for not taking this seriously. The whole situation in Icewind Dale, this eternal winter, if it were to spread further than Icewind Dale itself, it could be a serious problem for the rest of the Forgotten Realms. But nobody's really taking it seriously because it's all like Icewind Dale is cold. It's supposed to be cold. That's the way it is. And she's all like, no, but there's actual like seasons and stuff. Yes, it's cold in the winter, but it's not supposed to be winter all the time.
Well,
there are entire species that are dying out. The lakes are freezing completely over. This is not balance.
This isn't normal. Kuori just kind of like nods and listens and kind of takes, like, puts a pin on those things in like her mind list. Like it's like, okay, this little bit of information and this little bit of information. But she's quiet. I feel like she knows the way Icewind Dale is, so she would be the type to be bundled up and doesn't really make conversation with other people. It's the same attitude that she's aware of. So she's just listening and kind of like not stopping her if she's saying a little too much.
You'd be surprised the amount of information that you can get by saying nothing at all.
But she'll put like a hand on her back to kind of help her feel safe. As you're walking along, you do you see a figure in an alleyway, like a little bit too close for comfort, and like they're standing in such a way that like you get the idea that like they could surprise somebody if they wanted to, but evidently they don't want to. I will do that wide berth with Danica, but kind of give a look at the person to see who
certainly
they are.
Well, you can give a look at them, but as I said, everybody's always bundled up, and you just see this empty hood just kind of track you as you go. Empty hood is in like, you can't see inside the hood. Well, maybe I should have run with that. Like that look of horror was pretty good.
That look on my face was genuine, mind you. I don't have dark vision. And all I can do for lighting is throw a firebolt their way.
Like your instincts tell you that like that person's not gonna bother you, but if it had been just you or if it had been just Danica, it might have been a different story.
Okay. Just pulls Danica in closer.
And she does have like this huge like pack on her back that like makes a lot of noise and jingles and stuff.
Yeah, but she'll still kind of like, she doesn't know Danica well, but she's helping and she's been nice. But who knows? Maybe she's also a doppelganger. I don't know.
Who's to say? And everybody might be doppelgangers. Maybe you're not maybe you're the only one that isn't a doppelganger as you.
Maybe.
Some interesting philosophy there that I think Kuori could write on later.
Yeah.
You guys make it to the inn unbothered.
Sorry, my cat's crying because one of the doors in this house isn't open.
Oh, but that's the one that matters the most.
She'll like usher Danica in to kind of, she still has, even though she's been through a lot, she still has that like protective vibe to her. So she kind of like ushers her in first, and her big figure kind of comes in through the door, like kind of goes in under the the door frame and just shakes out the snow.
Mm-hmm.
And looks around to see if there any of her group is there.
Yep, I think Lucas and Hart are there. Lydia has retreated into her room unless she wants to make her way back out at some point.
Lydia's staying in her room, but like anyone who walked by, the light is on. Like like the light is still on. But she will stay in her room.
I feel like once she knows that Hart and Lucas are safe, she'll ask them if they got rooms.
I got distracted by the man who was music stuff that was happening on the stage over there, the little halfling, and then
The bard?
he asked us, is that what they're called?
Bards, yes.
Bard. The bard, well, he asked, well, he not really asked, he more pointed to people and said that he was going to have us speak to a dead woman. We just had to follow him. And so we went into the back. There was like 12 of us. And then we had what was called a seance, where he called forth the dead woman's spirit, and she like snickerdoodles. And I couldn't really read what else she was saying, but there was like stuff that was being put on windows. Lucas, do you remember what she was saying?
Yes. I don't know if I want to go into that. For your question, she said that the Dragon Heart Forge was in the mountains beyond the lake.
That one. Because that was one of the things that I dreamed about the other day, and that was where the mean-looking king with like the wicked-looking crown was heading.
Yes. We'll talk about that when we're in private. Yes.
Oh,
Would I have heard anything about the Dragon Heart Forge?
You in particular, Lucas,
talk to
aside from what the rest of the party has shared from you, you have not.
Lucas,
Yes.
come with me.
Okay. Am I in trouble? I don't think I did
Yes.
anything. Oh no. Lydia's in that room if you want to talk.
I want to talk to you.
Okay.
Lucas
And
gets.
she'll just take him to a table. That's like a little bit like more separate. Lucas, what have you been doing?
In what way?
Since you left your home, without telling people what you were doing.
Well, I
Why
did
the
tell them
fuck
I
is
was
a doppelganger after you?
just look down. Well, I did tell them that I was gonna go adventure. So I don't think I can be in trouble for that because I did tell them. They just didn't believe me because they never believed me.
Lucas, I know, but you have to be more specific.
So the Zentarum are after something that was on a ship. And then Lucas relays the rest of the information because I don't remember it at this point. There is a lot more information.
I will just iterate that we are speaking very quietly.
He might be. Not the most quiet person.
No, she'll make sure he's quiet. It's
Okay.
that mom grip on the shoulder.
Oh yeah, he'll get real quiet.
Okay.
So then I followed them to this point, and then I got captured, and then I got free, and then I caught a wizard, and then I'm here.
Why are you involved with the Centarum?
Because they're bad people, and adventurers take down bad people.
You know what adventurers also do?
What?
Go out in groups.
Well, I didn't really have anybody to go in a group with me.
Really, because your sister,
Wanted
who
to
I'm
stay
assuming-
and take care of the shop for Dad.
Lucas, you can't
Put
just
down.
go. You can't just go and do dangerous things off by yourself.
I mean, it's kind of worked so far. I kind of just fell into it.
I mean, trust me, I get it. 10 miles there. But could you at least now think about not going off by yourself?
You're right. Okay, so I promised Lydia, but it wasn't Lydia. I promised the fake Lydia that I would go home and talk to my mom and dad about everything and just check in with them. And then I promise as soon as I do that, I will find people to adventure with me.
Okay, good. You need to be safe.
I know.
You have family that cares about you.
Well, Lydia does. Well, I don't know if this Lydia is Lydia.
Why do you say that?
We went into I'll like explain the whole situation with the white woman. I just don't know.
I have to tell you, Lucas, I am sick and tired of all these fucking mystery and all these lies.
Mm-hmm. Me too. It's really hard to keep track of.
Yes. Congratulations on being an adventurer, by the way.
Thank you.
And she'll pat his head. You did good.
He'll just smile.
Meanwhile, Hart, Danica has been peppering you with questions about the Chewinga.
Oh yeah, Hart's down to answer all of them as best he can.
Okay. And the Chewinga will manifest and seems content to kind of show off for her, like basically strutting back and forth on top of your head.
He's doing a little grandstanding.
Yeah, like swinging around on your antlers and like hopping down onto the table and like ta-da.
He's doing the like one-handed push-up when she's talking about like his size. Like he's like definitely just like, oh yeah, you like that? And then you see him like put both hands behind his back and he's still like doing the like push-up
Still doing
motion.
the yes. Oh baby. Yes, of all of those things. Eventually it becomes clear like this is the moment where the Chewinga is about to change hands. Like she kind of like lowers herself down to like table height and asks, would you like to come with me for a while? And the Chewinga kind of like looks at her and then looks up at you.
And then Hart will just give it a big smile.
You see it kind of like give you a thumbs up, and then it like reaches and like pulls at its beard, as though like, you know, it's doing like the yes, pulling on the beard thing, but like it just pulls it completely off, just like, and kind of like disappears in a little flurry of snow, and then reappears up in your antlers, and it ties the bit of yeti hair into your antlers as like a little talisman, just amidst the I'll say it's like right next to that that bell that was put there so long ago. So now you've got a bell hanging off of your antlers,
Bell and some yeti.
and a yeti chewinga beard.
God, I'm the coolest.
And then the chewinga will disappear off of you and reappear amongst Danica's things, and it just keeps on like pulling things out of her bag and like, you know, curiously like fiddling with them and stuff. Like she's got so many more toys than you do.
She does.
And Danica is beside herself with joy. She reminds you that she originally agreed to 20 gold pieces for bringing a chewinga. She is overjoyed with the like you have gone. She's overjoyed with the result. She gives you 40 gold pieces.
Wow.
And says that you can keep the lantern.
Right.
The chewinga also gives you a blessing that we can discuss at a later date.
That one sounds cool. Also, how much money did I spend at the pastry shop?
That's a good question. I'd say like just call it a gold and we're good.
Okay.
Like economy is so broken in D&D.
It's true. Okay. Just wanted to check.
Yep. All right. Because like things that are actually useful like are prohibitively expensive, but things like food and lodging are just like, yeah, you can just live for a year off of a silver, sure.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I have my living conditions down as wretched, so really that's up to you guys.
It's like, but you want to take a cab across the road? Ugh, that's gonna cost you like 200 gold. All right. Does anything else happen this evening?
I think Kuori will leave Lucas, make sure he gets just a good meal in him, and Hart as well. And I think she will go to her room once she figures out which one her room is. And she'll kind of put her stuff down and look at the box of pastries and open it. And she'll sit down and just kind of look at it. And just tears start falling from her face, from her eyes.
Is that the scene?
Hart and Kuori share a room, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think Hart would probably come in having finished wrapping up his talk with Danica. And like just sees Kuori like tears from her face, or like if you hear the door open, is it the quick like I wasn't crying like, but you still are like...
honestly she doesn't have she's tired and so much has happened today. She doesn't have like that knee-jerk reaction. She just kind of puts the box aside and does that thing where you like put your elbows on your legs and just cover your face.
Yeah, I think Hart probably walks in at that, and closes the door behind him and just says, "Oh, you found the cookies. Well, Lydia bought them when we were at it had a really complex name. I'm sorry. It was the Cookie Cutter Cafe.
Cutter.
It was run by a cat man, and there were a lot of cats in there, but there wasn't any cats in the delicious pastries that he ended up making. So I'm not really sure how he was able to do that. Make the cats nice, I mean.
She just nods and they kind of put their hands down and start kind of like just wiping the tears off her face.
Were you eating onions?
No.
Did you injure yourself?
No.
Why are you crying? And I think Hart will probably, like, he doesn't pull up a chair to sit next to Kuori. Like, he goes in front of her and then just squats down and is keeping himself, like, propped up on his staff. But, like, he's eye level with her in the chair. He has a little bit of Yeti hair that is now, like, wrapped in one of his antlers.
She looks at him and it's kind of like a watery smile on her face as she sees him. Have you ever felt, you know, when you get hurt physically and it really hurts for a long time, and the most painful time is when that wound was created, or maybe an older wound that's opened up again.
Mm-hmm. And Hart, again, just has, like, this big old wicked scar along the right side of his face.
Sometimes that pain, you can feel that, but on the inside, not physically, but you hurt. You don't know exactly why. And you don't know how to make it stop. And you're just left with pain.
Do you not know why, as in you don't know why you're feeling this way now, or you don't know why as to why it's a lingering sensation?
I don't know why because I don't want to find out why.
I think I know. You and Lydia are good friends. Throughout the time that we traveled together, we all shared the warmth of a fire. We shared cookies. We shared drinks. And we shared our stories and we shared our time with each other. And it hurts when you find out that the person that you were sharing your time with was a fox. They changed themselves at the very last moment and revealed that they weren't who you thought that they were. That's hard.
She nods. Yes.
But we're still here. At least I think you're still you. And Hart kind of like pops like Kuori's forehead with his staff. You have to tell me if you're a doppelganger.
Well, if I was a doppelganger, why would I tell you?
Because it's the law. There's a rule in place. If they're a doppelganger and you ask them if they're a doppelganger, they have to tell you if they are or not. That's what Lucas told me.
I don't think that's correct. If not, we would have known sooner, yeah?
But we would never have asked.
No. But thank you for being here, Hart.
Kuori,
Yes.
do you have a knife?
Well, of course.
And he holds out his staff. Draw something.
Okay. She will take his staff and will take out a small, like a whittling knife, and take the staff and very carefully into the staff she will carve uh the Goliath, or I guess giant rune that would mean protection, into his staff. There. That means protection. And you'll be protected.
If ever we're in a situation where you have to question whether or not I'm me, and I have to ever question whether or not you're you, I want you to look at this rune. I want you to ask yourself or ask me what it means. And if we say protection, we'll know that we're the real person. If you answer anything else, I don't know what I'll do. I'll tell Lydia and hope that she's the real Lydia and that you aren't both just going to, like, be mean to me.
Okay. I can do that. I think I need to talk to Lydia. I think the longer it waits, the worse it'll be. Hart?
Yeah.
You're a very good person. Thank you for being my friend.
Of course.
And she'll give him a big hug.
Hart will just like he was holding his staff. He wasn't ready for it. He's just like getting crushed in this.
It's not a tight hug.
Yeah.
No, it's a very
Very
someone
big
is
tender
embracing
hug.
you.
Yeah. I think Hart will still be like taken aback and with his free hand just like extends out and like pats Kuori twice and then just keeps his hand there and kind of like headbutts you.
Mm-hmm. She'll like headbutt him. No. Here. And she'll take one of the scones and the cookie that looks like her. And give the rest of the scones to Hart. Try that. I think you might like it.
Hart will nod. Lydia or Kuori just made him eat a full course dinner, so he doesn't have room for scones.
Yeah.
But when he gets dessert, his
Yeah.
dessert tummy going, oh yeah.
Yeah. And Kuori will walk out and kind of stand in front of Lydia's door, and I feel like she would be able to see like the shadows underneath the door of like a figure, and it stops in front of her door, and you see the shadows of her feet, and they're there for a moment until you hear a knock.
Come in.
She'll open the door.
As you peer into the room, you see Lydia standing before the a mirror that is in the room, and she's holding a small silver dagger in her hand. And as you walk in, she's cutting the last strands of hair, and it falls all to the ground until her hair is at chin length. And it looks her hair has always had this like dark purple hue to it. And sitting there on the floor, it almost looks like a pile of raven feathers as she turns around with now very short hair. Hi, Kuori.
Hi, Lydia. You look good.
Thanks. I just felt like I needed a change. I know that you couldn't look at me before, and every time you did, you just saw that creature. I don't really know who I am anymore either. So I figured a new hairstyle might be good.
Lucas, can I speak to your sister alone?
Oh yeah, I was wondering about that. Lucas will go hang out with Hart.
I thought he was asleep. That's on me. That's from the bottom of my heart. Maybe. And for the first time since you guys re-met up, you kind of see the same little bit of humor and laugh that Lydia, that you know from back home, has always had. And she just kind of sits down on the bed and like pats the end of it.
Yeah. She'll probably take off half of the bed because she's just big. But she'll sit. Thank you for the scones.
I throughout my travels, I know we were supposed to be adventuring together, and that it was supposed to be you and me, and I tried to do little things every day that reminded me of you or Lucas. I'm not the same person as when I left, and I certainly am not the person that has been traveling with you for weeks. But I am me, Kuori. Those scones just reminded me of you. Subtly sweet, hearty, and smells a bit like a forest. I promise I'm still me.
I think I know that. I think that my problem goes with that I feel like I should have known. And I didn't. And I shouldn't
Kuori,
have lost you. I shouldn't have.
Lydia will put her very small, slightly chilly gnomish hand on Kuori's arm. Kuori, what happened to me and the fact that somebody impersonated me, none of that is your fault. Someone betraying your trust is never your fault. You didn't deserve for that to happen, and I'm sorry that it did, and I'm sorry that it was my face. But none of this is your fault.
They were very good, you know.
Well, I'm very good, so. And she does like a new like hair flip, but thinks that there's more hair than there actually is. And hey, you found Lucas. We found Lucas.
Yeah.
And he's not dead yet.
Yet. That's a very big yet. You don't know the things that thing knows about me, and it's strange thinking that before we left, we knew each other, we were friends. But throughout that journey, I thought I made the best friend. And it's strange knowing that those memories are gone and that they're not real.
I don't think they're not real. I understand how you feel that way. But I know that I think that you might feel the same way too, but there seems to be something other than my brother holding us together. And I'm not planning on leaving this path that we have been pushed down anytime soon. So if it's all right with you, I look forward to spending the time with you and earning that trust as me. And whenever you are ready, if you're ever ready, I would be honored to have a best friend as badass as you.
And I would be honored to have a friend as badass as you.
I do have this cool new scar.
It's very cool.
Yeah, it hurt a lot.
What happened?
It's a long story. Another night, I promise.
I got this one from the shop pull up her shirt from fighting a Duragard. And it's just a big ass slash across. Oh, so I know magic now.
That's amazing. I've learned a lot in my travels too. And I know we didn't know each other super well, like we were friends, but not, slumber
like
parties
birthday
and
party friends, but not like small supper, like dinner party friends.
Yeah. And I was so thankful that you even wanted to come on this journey with me. I can't wait to get to know you more and our new antlered friend who seems to love desserts.
Yeah, we have to talk about him.
Hey, if you want, I'm sure Lucas wouldn't mind, but you're welcome to stay and talk and go over. I'll answer any questions that you have. But I'm just really glad that we're all together finally.
Me too. I can't say that it will be all right off the bat.
I understand.
That creature was good at manipulating people, and I wasn't aware. And after so long being alone, I finally felt like I belonged, and I had that taken away from me.
I'm so sorry that happened to you. It wasn't your fault. It's not okay, but I'm here to
It
hope
wouldn't
and
have been
help
the
that it
first time.
will. Dang it, Kuori, I'm gonna make it the last time. Because you do belong.
Also, I would like to ask you something. Now that we're being open and honest.
Anything.
Are you hiding?
Hiding what?
Something. Anything.
I'm just trying to figure out who I'm supposed to be.
Sorry, I looked at the chat and I shouldn't. If maybe we can find out who we are together, yeah?
I'd like that a lot.
And she'll pick up Lydia and give her a big hug.
Lydia will nuzzle into Kuori's like shoulder, like right here. And you can just feel like a few tears hit your shoulder as she hugs you back really, really tight. And her new short hair dances across the back of her ears.
She'll hold her. And just in case, if you ever try to stab me, I'll throw you like a baseball.
Agreed. That sounds good.
Good. And she'll give her like another squeeze. Roommates.
Always.
We can end that there.
Kuori, do you go back to your room that you were sharing with Hart that you had sent Lucas into to go to bed, or are you two just like...
She would tell Hart if it's okay for them to like switch roommates.
Gotcha. Yeah. When you open the door, Blanky and I talked about this. It's just Hart and Lucas curled up on Snowy, both of them just passed out. Hart's covered.
No.
Hart has a bunch of like cookie crumbs on him. He had a sugar
Oh my
crash really hard after a
God.
long day.
Kuori's just gonna run back to the room, pick up Lydia, run back to the other room, and then just show her.
Lydia's just like, oh, look at them. And says, hold on, Kuori, I have an idea. Shh.
Is it to
And
open
Lydia-
up with a really loud noise?
No. This is better. And Lydia will run into the other room, and she will go to her bed, reach under the pillow, and grab the pillow and all of the blankets and the ones from Kuori's bed, bring them back into the room with the two sleeping boys, and sort of make a large pile of blankets and pillows around them, and then just say to Kuori, let's stay together for tonight. And she will curl up next to Hart and Lucas and Snowy and leave room for Kuori to do the same.
Kuori will curl up, and I feel like it's like this small like pile of people on this wolf, and then Kuori wrapping around the wolf because she's 8 feet tall.
And Lydia will just fall asleep for the first time in a long time, restfully.
If only. Everybody is curled up tonight. It's peaceful. There is nary a sound. You know how snow tends to just absorb that. And Lydia is laying curled up amongst her friends, and her eyes are just fluttering, about to like close and fall asleep for the night, when she feels a cold presence next to her. And out of the corner of her eye, she can see a tall figure in white, with long white hair. And just as she starts to turn her head to look, she hears, "You're not supposed to be here." And she turns to look, and there's nothing. And then you hear a tapping, like something hard on glass, just thunk, thunk, thunk.
Lydia will slowly roll away from the pile and look out the window. Does
There's
she
a
see anything?
there's a raven on the windowsill. It just taps on the glass a little bit, looks at you, caws, and then flies away.
Lydia will sigh deeply, go up to the window, check that it's latched, look over to Kuori and Lucas and Hart and Snowball, all asleep. And she will just sit on the floor, looking at them, looking out the window. I shouldn't be here. And then eventually go back and curl back up with them, waiting until she just passes out.
Mm-hmm. And we'll pull back out through the window, looking down into the streets of East Haven. And we look out across the lake, and we see a singular figure in white walking across the ice. And we draw closer to them. This lady with long hair, she's clutching something in her hands. And as we get closer and closer, we realize it's a snickerdoodle. And that's where we're going to leave off for tonight.
Oh, she took my cookie. Hooray. And with that, thank you to everybody who decided to stop on by and join us. Wow, we were these last 15 minutes just... Wowee! These last 15 minutes! What a great show, though. But honestly, it's a great show, whatever these people are on. Danae, where can we find you? What do you do?
Hi, everybody. I'm Danae Keener. You can find me at DanaeKeener.com. I do nerdy drawings, mostly related to D&D, and a lot of things on this channel. You can find me also on Twitter at Danae Keener. That's where I keep my schedule for streaming and such. And that's it, DanaeKeener.com.
Hi everyone, my name's Satan, and you can find me at LizMac over on Twitter, and you can find me on Twitch in many different channels. If you like art and you like seeing people draw and make the art, you can find me at my own channel, at LizMac as well. But if you like seeing me play characters that cry and have very emotional talks with their maybe not doppelganger friends, you can find me here playing Kuori, the Goliath fighter, Sunday nights. Also, find me here once a month, Wednesday, playing Lilith, my vampire mobster, and on Thursdays every week playing Luciana, my character for our new mask game. On other channels, you can find me tomorrow, Monday at 5 o'clock EST over at Weave the Tale playing Great American Witch. You can also find me Saturdays over at Valdrian's channel playing Dragon Age, and right after that, at Blood Hunters playing D&D again. And last but not least, Sunday mornings, like today, you can find me over at the Hive Goblin DMing for my own friends, where I take them through my homebrew world, and we play loosely D&D. We mostly go by the rule of cool. And right now they're about to fight something in a misty wood full of dead trees on an island full of undead. So that's fun. But yeah, that's me.
Oh, hi, everybody. It's me, LizMac, or at LizMacD22 on the Twitter. You can find me here every Sunday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, playing Lydia, our questionable adjective rock gnome cleric. Otherwise, if you want to see what I am up to, you can follow me on Twitter. You can follow me at Jabroni TV. That's at Jabroni_TV. For all of the amazing streamers that are in my group, including our very own Blink Dog 182. We do YouTube content. There's trailers from all of the streamers, and there's a schedule so you can keep track of when everyone is. For the rest of the time, you can find me at Clever Plays on Twitter. I am lucky enough to be the community manager of an amazing game studio here in Canada, and our game Operation Tango comes out this year and is available to try out on Steam right now. But that's it for me.
And Blinky, where can we find you? What do you do?
Oh, hey, I'm Matt, or BlinkDog182 on Twitter and Twitch. I am currently on a hiatus from streaming games, but I will be back after March. And Jabroni.tv.
There we go. I pressed a button and it was like loading that my mic was coming back on. So, I was hoping for the best on that one. Hello, everybody. If you've made it this far, you probably already know who I am. But if you don't, hey, Acorns, what's up? It's me, your buddy, your pal, your friend, the Indoor Adventurer, the showrunner here at twitch.tv/Indoor Adventures. We do shows like this on Monday and Thursday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, as well as on Sundays at 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If this is your first time joining us, you can go to youtube.com/Indoor Adventures to check up on all of the VODs of each of the games that we have played up until this point, including full playthroughs of games like Curse of Strahd, Waterdeep Dragon Heist, Ghosts of Saltmarsh, Tomb of Annihilation, and our Tyrant Security game, the Homebrew Acquisitions Incorporated style game that we ended up running, that our dear friend Cyberwolf1201 ended up running. Satan was in it. It was a great time. I would highly recommend going to check that one out as well. But for now, we are going to be going into our Patreon-supported after show called Nights in the Courtyard, where we answer questions not only from the community, but also from each other. So if you have any questions that you would like to ask myself or any of these other fine folk, feel free to join us on their Patreon, and we will do our best to respond in kind. So with that, I would like to say once again, thank you to Danae for running this game. Thank you to Matt for joining us, and thank you to the rest of these players for thank you to Danae for putting up with our bullshit once again this week, and we'll see all of you guys next time. All right, everybody, bye-bye.